Hello, everybody. It is me, Demetra Kaye, and I'm sitting here with Donovan, a recovering Democrat Sadiq, also known as the Black Yul Brenner. And this is the Demetra Kaye Show. We are not live, but we'll be live later so we can have a nice conversation with you all. But I should also say that the purpose of the Demetra Kaye Show is to promote Black love, knowledge, and understanding of all things that go on in the Black community to make us an even better people with the emphasis on even because we're great people, but we can always strive to do better. So today we're going to be talking about the Trump administration via that of MAHA, Make America Healthy Again. That is under the leadership of Secretary of Health and Human Services, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., right? And so there's been a lot of conversation, and it sounds like they are wanting to regulate food stamps to some degree. And of course, I'll get into that after Donovan says all the things that he's going to say, but it's going to be a very interesting conversation. And I have a question that we'll ponder. So, Donovan?
Hey, you guys. Thank you guys for joining us. This is the podcast of the Demetra Kaye Show. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Quick announcement. Don't forget, if you guys want to meet Demetra Kaye and Brother Phil Scott and the rest of the African Diaspora News crew, they will be in Columbus, Ohio in May. Go to Demetra's page. You guys can get the information from there. Email her if you need the information. Even go to Brother Phil Scott and do that as well. It's the 18th of February right now. Still Black History Month. 20% off on an annual subscription of the African Diaspora News Channel. You guys, that is a deal, 20% off. I mean, most places I go, they only give you a 10% discount if you're a veteran. So 20% off, that's significant on an annual subscription of knowledge. That's what's going on all around the globe in the African diaspora. I think it makes a great gift, a great birthday present, a great graduation present. There's nothing more advantageous than knowledge. So 20% off African Diaspora News Channel. You got to download that on Google Play, Apple Store, and you can go straight to the YouTube channel and subscribe right there. It doesn't have to be for you necessarily. You can buy subscriptions to that as well as Demetra Kaye as well. Also, if you guys want to continue to help the show go farther, you got Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, Cash, Money Order, all those great things. Any donation that you guys can do helps the content creator continue to make these great conversations. But I always say, hey, sometimes it's great just to buy somebody a cup of coffee and call it a day. Fellas, for those of the guys that go on those meet and greets, hey, just take her to coffee, $5. So I don't think that's a lot to buy Demetra a cup of coffee, $5, Cash App her, call it a day. Say thank you, for the conversation, Demetra. See you next week. So $5, that's where you guys can do it. And we really do truly appreciate it. Demetra, this is going to be a very interesting 4 years. And I say that because Donald Trump is in office. It seems that he has learned a lot since his first go around. And he is flooding the zone. And the Democrats can't seem to catch up and keep up. So again, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. This is Democratic royalty from that family, and he is in a Republican administration. Very interesting. Let's get into it.
Yes, indeed. Thank you so much. And you don't have to email me or Phil. You can actually just go to the pages where we posted. I posted on my Facebook and Instagram, and I've posted it as well on YouTube, but I'm gonna post them again for the Ohio Black Expo and get all the information there. So get your free ticket before the end of the month. Otherwise, you're gonna have to pay for all of them. Anyway, so yes, as Donovan said, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who is royalty. His father was Robert F. Kennedy. He was assassinated, as well as his uncle, John F. Kennedy, who was the president of the United States. And so he has been elected to, or appointed rather, to a position of Secretary of Health and Human Services. And his mission has always been, even before he, got into politics per se, is to make sure that the food source here in America is healthy. I would say even healthy, because right now, not so much, right? And so, of course, there's been a lot of conversation around the SNAP program, supplemental nutritional assistance programs within SNAP, otherwise known as food stamps. And so this is not actually a new conversation. This conversation has been around for a very long time in regards to what should SNAP recipients be able to buy. And so now there's a renewed conversation in regards to them not being able to buy junk food. So like sodas, candies, desserts, and, other things, ice cream, right? They don't want them to have that kind of stuff. And I'm going to show you guys a video clip of Robert F. Kennedy Jr. kind of explaining it a little bit. But there's a senator, Senator Mike Lee, also introduced a bill called the Healthy SNAP Act, which promotes the health of the recipients. So basically, they're saying they want the recipients to be healthier, and it reflects nutrition science. This is a new bill, right? Public health concerns and cultural eating patterns. I don't even know what that means. And so there's also some other senators and people in Washington saying, yeah, we don't think they should be able to buy junk food, right? They want to kind of make sure they're buying things that are healthy. Now, of course, this is also going through the DOGE department that is headed by that of Elon Musk, where their department is getting rid of governmental waste, right? Department of Governmental Efficiency. So, of course, we've heard them go to the Department of Education, Department of Defense, and, USAID and a whole host of other ones. And the SNAP program is not different. So, again, they want to get rid of waste and fraud with the food stamp program. So I'm going to let you guys listen to that of Robert F. Kennedy Jr. speaking to Laura Ingalls, Ingrams rather. It's a short clip. Here we go.
Of choice. If you want to eat Twinkies, you ought to be able to eat them, but you ought to know what's in them. So a lot of what I'm going to do is about radical transparency, about making people understand, allowing people to understand, and empower them with understanding that if you eat that, it may seem cheap, but it's going to cost you in the long run. You're going to get diabetes, et cetera. There are certain additives. We have 10,000 additives in our food. The Europeans have 400. Many of the additives that we have are just illegal in Europe. And we need to move more and more toward the European standards.
Is that not a nanny state? I'm saying what the critics are going to say. That RFK Jr. is just a new Bloomberg nanny state, which conservatives traditionally aren't. President Trump likes Big Macs. We're not going to take those away, are we?
Oh, we're not going to take. That's what I'm saying. If you want to eat a Big Mac, you ought to. But McDonald's ought to be incentivized to use beef tallow fat when it's cooking as Big Macs, and so that they're good for people, rather than using seed oils or some other cooking oils that are actually going to probably make you sicker. And so we want to do a number of things, but not take away choice from people. The one place that I would say that we need to really change policies is in the SNAP program and food stamps and in school lunches, because there the federal government in many cases is paying for it, and we shouldn't be subsidizing people to eat poison.
So I'm going to remove him. So, Laura asked a great question in regards to a nanny state. Of course, Michael Bloomberg, he was the mayor of New York City. He wanted to put a soda tax or something like that, or limit big gulps and things like that. He didn't want people to drink a certain amount of soda. Of course, that did not pass. A lot of people's like, now, wait a minute. Now, you can't tell me how much soda I can drink, right? And so she was asking Robert F. Kennedy. Of course, she said they don't want to limit people's food choices, but and she asked him about Trump eating McDonald's, which he does eat a lot. And I think he made a great point where he says McDonald's should be incentivized to make better food, right? There's nothing wrong with having a Big Mac every once in a while, but what's in that Big Mac? And so he also talked about the school lunches, which I never allowed my daughter to eat because I knew that they were crappy, terrible, full of just things that weren't nutritious for her. So I always packed her lunch and things like that. But Donovan, what say you after hearing that?
Well, I'm a veteran, of course, and I believe in individual freedom and choice and all that other great stuff. Trust me, I believe in it. However, if you are dependent on the government to house you, if you're dependent on the government to feed you, if you're dependent on the government to clothe you, if you're dependent on the government to do these things, I think it's also the government's job, number one, is to protect its citizens. That's why I joined the military. The government's number one job is public safety. And if the government is going to regulate what you can eat and it's healthier for you to do that, I personally am for that, because again, you have a choice. Either if you don't want to do what the government says as they're feeding you what they're saying you can get, you always have a choice to go on your own and, provide for yourself. So, that's pretty much, where I have it, because there is a problem in this country with morbid obesity, especially within our community. Most of Black men and women are morbidly obese, and we are dying at a earlier rate than a lot of our counterparts. So, something has to be done. And my question to everybody out there is, when do we do it? When do we make a stand for reparations? Do we wait another 20 years for our children to be grown, and then all the archives are destroyed and everything is done and it's 20 more years later? Or do we make a stand now? So the same thing with our health. Do we make a stand now? Or do we let a couple more million people die from bad eating habits that could be avoided? So it's all about a choice. And again, if you're going to be accepting things from the government, you have to go by those regulations that the government does set. And if it's for a healthy thing, because we already know the government has an agenda of bad things for certain groups of people in this country, and I don't have to say what those groups are. If it's for the positive and it's going to make you eat healthier, yes, I'm for it, 100%.
I should also say to that, less than 1% of welfare recipients, or food stamp recipients, I should say, commit fraud. So it's not this big, thing, like, because we hear a lot, the welfare queen, which they always try to attach that to somebody black. But in Chicago, it was, I think he was a Latino man, committed a welfare food stamps fraud, rather, to the tune of $1.5 million, where he had access to about 1,200 food stamp recipients cards, and he was buying food, I guess, to restock his store and all of that other stuff. So he's gonna be doing a lot of time. But I just say that to say, because I know a lot of times it gets attributed to, black people committing welfare fraud. Again, it's 1%, but food stamp fraud rather. But my thing is this. Yeah, you want to make sure that, and when I say you, I mean the government, they're saying they don't want people to buy ice cream, candy, soda, and any other kind of sweets. But it's like, that's almost to say that's the only thing that can make you unhealthy. If you buy the wrong type of meat, I could buy a pack of chicken, some flour, and some grease, and I could fry it. And I could get all that with food stamps. I could buy French fries, and I could eat that every day. That's not healthy for me, right? So there's a lot of things you could buy outside of the realm of sugar or sweets or whatever the case is. And this is the other rub. I could make me some donuts. I can make me some cookies. I can make me some ice cream. I know how to make ice cream, right? I can go buy the ingredients. So it's like, what is this really about? Because the real question is this overreach? If you ask me, yes, it's overreach. Because at the very least, I think that with all the things that's going on in the United States, you wanting to be a Gestapo in a way, you can't buy sweets, you can't do this with food stamps. I mean, it's like I said, if I really wanted to do those things, and me not being able to buy those things with food stamps, that don't mean I'm gonna be healthier. And there's ways around that. Like if I wanted to sell some of them, which is illegal, I just want to say that it's illegal to do that, I could get the money and go buy me some soda. So I'm saying, is it fail proof? It doesn't mean you're gonna be healthy, but I just think it kind of gets into being a little bit on the mean side. I want to make sure welfare recipients don't get, because most people who are getting food stamps need it. It's depending on where you live. You got to go through a whole bunch of questions and answers and verifications and all this. So it depends on where you live, right? It's not always as easy to get them. Hey, I need some food stamps. I couldn't walk into any welfare office in Texas and say, I need some food stamps. Great, we're here to help you. Can I see your bank statements? Can I see your tax returns? Never mind. They're not gonna give them to me, right? So it's not easy to get. And what I'm saying too is why I think it's a little mean-spirited, because it also, and I know how people think. A lot of times people think, oh, it's a big, fat, lazy black woman sitting on her big, fat, lazy butt, eating up all the food stamps. She getting crab legs and she getting all the steaks and all this other stuff. But it's like, is it really that? Because there's a lot of people who are working. There's people who are working 40 hours a week that need food stamps. There's seniors who, the Social Security and all these other things do not afford them to go buy nutritional food, right? They might have to depend on Meals on Wheels, and I've seen that food, and I want to eat that, right? And there's disabled people. So there's a whole realm of people who need those benefits. But yeah, I think it's a little bit mean-spirited. And I think whoever is coming up with these ideas, I think is half-baked. And I say it's mean because it is half baked. Because all the things I just said, I want to eat me a damn cookie. I'm gonna make me a cookie with all the food stamp money.
Well, you know, again, I think these ideas come out of the fact that it's a wedge issue. A lot of these things, like I said, who gives a damn? If you want to kill yourself and be overweight and all this other stuff, who is the government or anybody else to say what you're going to do? You're going to go out the way you want to go out. People smoke cigarettes all the time, right? Knowing the negative effects of cigarettes and all this other stuff. And, you know, we can go on and on and on about that. But I think all these things come out to continually divide the American people, to fight among each other. As long as we are fighting these really ridiculous battles, oh, this is racist, this is that, oh, you're anti this. Guess who wins? The rich folks, the people who make all the money, because everybody's going to be fighting all these. Like I said, I think it's ridiculous. But at the end of the day, why is it that we keep thinking that the government is this secret entity and cabal that sits in Washington and they do all this stuff? Ladies and gentlemen, the government is us. If we want to have snacks and snow cones and yams and, you know, whatever, we tell them what we want. We're the government. We keep forgetting that. That's what kills me about a lot of these issues. They make it seem like a Nancy Pelosi or Maxine Waters or a Donald Trump. No, we're the government. We tell you what we want, and you're supposed to represent our voices. And like I said, all these things are wedges. They just throw this out and we fight among each other because America was built on fighting. Basically, it's a constant. America has never gone through a period of peace. Do you guys realize that if you go through history? In the founding of this country, we have been at war with other nations or within ourselves since the founding of this nation, and nothing has changed to this very day. It's a wedge issue. It's to keep the rich versus the poor, the middle versus the this or that or that or this. Keep everybody distracted while they continue to rob us deaf, dumb, and blind.
Yeah. And, you know, today, and again, this conversation is not new. It's, I would say, been in every administration, whether it's a Democrat or Republican administration. But today they coming for, you know, who they perceive to be boomquishas, you know, zuzus and wham whams. And then when are they coming for yours tomorrow? Like you said, y'all supposed to go there and do the will of the people. And, you know, targeting people for Twinkies, I think it's a lot. But I do understand RFK, you know, Jr.'s stance. And a lot of people probably watching saying, well, what's wrong with him? Well, he ended up getting a parasite in his brain. And that's why he, you know, from what I understand, speaks the way he does. So I don't know if I'm assuming maybe came from a food source to some degree. So I get his passion and wanting to make sure that food is safe, because America is probably one of the places in the world where they just allow any and everything and all type of ingredients to go in the food. You go anywhere else in the world, a lot of things they just do not, and it's banned, like banned for real, right? But yet here, they allow everything to go in the food. I'm very particular about what I put in my body as well. And I look at the ingredients. There's an app called Yuka, YUKA. You can scan your food, beauty products, and all kind of stuff, and it'll tell you what's hazardous, what's okay, what's, you know, limited risk and things like that. I try to stay away from anything that's hazardous, because especially ingesting that or putting that on your body over time, yeah, it'll kill you. And it's no wonder why Americans are just super unhealthy. We are an unhealthy group of people. And it, again, it's because they allow certain things in the food source. Now, type 2 diabetes, from what I learned, is not something natural. It's kind of new. It's onset, right? It's like it comes on. Like some people have diabetes 1, and that's kind of like they're born with it or something like that. But this came about diabetes 2 due to the introduction of high fructose corn syrup, and that came from the government, because they're like, it's cheaper to use high fructose corn syrup opposed to using sugar. Sugar is considered to be like gold, right? It's a commodity along with salt. Look it up. Mansa Musa, who was at one point in time, I think Elon's probably got him beat now recently, was the richest man in the world. he became wealthy off of partially because of salt, right? So when the government said that sugar was too expensive, we'll move to high fructose corn syrup. Then you start to see all these diseases. You start to see these obesity rate creep up. Children, it was rare that they had onset diabetes or obesity, but now it's rare if you see a skinny kid, right? So the government has to own that. They're at one point in time cutting corners, and now they're saying, well, we need to cut them again and make sure that food stamp recipients can't buy junk food. And I think it's in a sense, I think it's a form of racism, and I say a small degree, because when they think about governing food stamps, they don't see the white woman who may live in suburbia, who may have lost her job, or her husband lost his job, and they're having to get food stamps to get by. They don't see that family. They see, as I say, a black woman with a whole church full of kids, and 2 baskets full of nonsense. That's who they see. Now the other thing too is eating unhealthy can make you obese, but what about the skinny people? Because we always focus on fat people being unhealthy, but there's a lot of skinny people who are unhealthy.
Yeah, I mean, just like I said, people look at me and they say, "Oh, Donovan, I've been skinny all my life, but right now I've got a whole host of medical issues." Doesn't mean I might look it, but it's not what we think it is. But yeah, it's an issue that keeps us pointing fingers at each other and saying what is. Now I come from a military background. And one of the main problems the military has is recruitment. And the recruitment isn't because people can't pass the test or whatever. It's the physicality. When the military can't get basic recruits to pass through boot camp, I mean, we had people that, ankles and they're just breaking apart in things that they should be doing. And the military has been trying to do all kinds of waivers to get these bodies into the military. And it's just unfortunate that the American citizen is not what it used to be in previous generations. And now here's my question, which is kind of strange. We talk about how advanced we are and all the technology and, oh my gosh, this generation is smarter than this generation is that. But if you look at it objectively, you can go back to our grandfather's day. So let's say 1926, something like that. In general, our grandfathers would have been born around that time, early part of the 20th century.
Mine would have been like 1917.
Yeah, 17. Yeah, something like that in those areas, right? How is it that those people live to be 100 and something years old? Less vaccinations, less this, less that, less this. But they live to be 100 years old. We have all this preventive medicine and we're dropping out at 55, 46. We're hearing it every day, all these new people. Who's the dude from Kid and Play? He died the other day. House Party. The brother from House Party, he just died. I mean, he was my age. I was like, oh, oh, wow. So we're going through these things, and it's just amazing to me that we should be living longer than 50-something years. It seems like we're regressing. Why is that? Is dollars and cents more important than a human body? It seems so. Like you said, the corn syrup and all, it's just cheaper to make this. We'll just give them this, whatever. Demetra, you've been overseas several times, and when I'm overseas, and I see, American tourists complaining about the food, or you listen to their kid, they go, "Oh, Mom, this tastes so strange." They don't have corn syrup in sodas. You go to other countries, the food usually is cooked fresh. I mean, it totally has a different taste. If you've never traveled, which most Americans don't, you will realize when you go overseas, why do Okinawans live so damn long? Why do these people live? What is their diet? Mostly fish, greens, vegetables, such and such and such and such. Here, we got preservative this. Demetra, when you can look at something and store it in your cabinet for 10 years, I can't do it. I can't do it.
Yeah, and I just looked just out of curiosity. So you're talking about Gene Groove Allen. He's the one that passed away from the House Party franchise. And then I went down, AJ Johnson, he's passed away. Robin Harris has passed away. Chino Fats. I'm not quite sure. I probably know his character, but not his name. There's 4 people right there. And they're relatively young, that died. And so I think the bigger question is that just when are we going to start promoting that more? I know healthy eating and lifestyle things is promoted, but I think it really deserves a good conversation. And like Robert F. Kennedy Jr. said, they probably should spend a little bit more time holding the companies accountable, because people, they're not going to buy. If they can't buy that because you're not putting horrible things in the food, then that would be optimal, right? Like you said, incentivize McDonald's to not put crap in the food. Like Jamie Oliver, who was a world-renowned chef, he actually sued McDonald's. He took them to task. This is a couple years back, because he said, especially with their jingle, to all beef patty, special sauce, lettuce, cheese. And he says, wait a minute, to all beef patties? He says, well, that surely is fraud, because they're not all beef. And when, they broke it down, it was all these chemicals and all these things in there. The chicken nuggets, they said it was like pink slime or something like that, or the burgers. He says, so he won. He actually won that lawsuit, and they have to stop saying that it was all beef, because it's not. All beef means you get the beef from the cow, and that's it. There's no hormones and antibiotics and all the other stuff that transfers to your plate and then eventually into your body. So that's what I would love to see him do, and that's kind of what he was saying he was going to do even before he got there. But yeah, we're going to hold these companies accountable, get rid of the poison in the food, because it is that indeed. It is poison. People are with the technology and the knowledge and all the things that we have today, a child born today should live to at least be 120. But we're seeing people go backwards. Black men, not to pick on y'all, and black women ain't that far behind you, but black men, y'all going, dropping like flies, very young. And it turns out that it's a stroke or it's a heart attack or, whatever it is. And so, especially for our community, we really need to have those conversations. And listen, like you said, our grandparents ate that food, but they ate it sparingly. And you know what? They could probably eat fried chicken more than one day a week, because it was more of a natural source. They more than likely went to the backyard, to the chicken coop, and wrung the chicken's neck and was like, we having this chicken. Roscoe was a fine bird, but we're going to have him tonight. And he
remember the old saying, the politicians say, there'll be 2 chickens in every pot.
Yeah, but Roscoe wasn't pumped full of a bunch of stuff. It was, and they weren't eating a bunch of stuff, because they say in some regards, chickens are just as bad as pigs. Because if you ever watch a chicken eat, it's not, oh no, I'm not going to peg that. No, that don't look good. A chicken does what? I know that probably look bad. Don't get you no ideas, okay? But if you look at a chicken, its eyes are on the opposite sides of his head. And he's not, or she, whatever the chicken may be, right? They're not looking at everything they eat. And the people nowadays, they're just throwing slop, eating everything. And the chicken is indiscriminate. It's going to eat whatever. So then that's in his body. And you go fry it up. So you're eating all of that plus the chicken. So like you said, it would behoove the government to say, all right, corporations, you all are the food source of the country, and you all need to operate above board. You cannot put poison into the American food system anymore. Now, if you're a little bit on the woke side and your third eye ain't clogged up with poison, then or you've heard, I'm going to say that some of this is by design. If you want to get to a whole group of people, you do it by the food source. Again, we know, especially in our communities, there's food deserts. And I learned this, from my daddy, Nation of Islam, eat what them folks eat. Go to the grocery stores where they shop. The Whole Foods and the Trader Joe's and all that, because they're more than likely their zip code is going to have better quality of food. But in our neighborhoods, usually have the food deserts, and we're in those liquor stores and gas stations. It's all the stuff that, and believe it or not, people, especially us, we go into those liquor stores and those gas stations, and you can use an EBT card, right? A SNAP food stamp. You can use that, but you're not going in there and getting no grapes. You're not going there and getting no tomatoes. And that's another thing Robert F. Kennedy should do. Grocery liquor stores and gas stations. If y'all gonna be in the SNAP program where you receive food stamps, then you need to have stuff in here that is healthy. Because don't just charge it to the people with the food stamps. Charge everybody. If you're gonna be using taking food stamps, you need to have something for them to buy. There needs to be at least a grape or a tomato on this receipt. Not no Cheetos, a cup of noodles, or honey buns or whatever else you get in there, because that's what they put in there, and they make a killing. That stuff in those stores ain't cheap. Now you might be able to get some milk, but it's probably rotten. And I don't want to get no gallon of milk from no gas station, or anything. So,
how many of you guys remember The Simpsons? Apu, he was a gas station owner, and Homer would go in there and get the
Apu. They got rid of Apu because they said Apu was racist.
Yeah. Remember
he went out the pasture with Pepe Le Pew.
Yeah. But remember, Homer would go in there and get the sickly hot dog, and he would still go back after he got sick and stuff. It was just, the one thing about The Simpsons, it did predict a lot of stuff that didn't make sense, and it still doesn't make sense. But for some reason, we still, go through these things. I'll give a good example. My brother, when he was out here in California, he used to love going, and I'm not trying to disparage AMPM, ARCO, whatever that situation is, but they have a nice little food thing there. And, it's just cheaper and quicker. It's more convenient to just, on your way as you're transiting, home to work to home. You want to stop, get something to eat, I'm going to quick hot dog. Let me do this. Let me do that. And, but we know it's unhealthy for us because, again, a lot of us can't cook. We don't cook like our big mamas used to. Mamas don't cook because, again, our women are now in the workforce. Back in our parents' day, I think our parents were the last group where the mother actually stayed home. And then our generation, it was like, hey, get out there and work. And so it's kind of difficult for women and whoever the custodial parent is to cook a decent meal. I guess that's the rise of the food prep places and stuff where you can buy them. And, another industry that has started up. But it's unfortunate, but a lot of people can. I mean, let's just be real. Tacos, ladies, that's not a meal. Men, ladies, that's not a meal. Tacos are not a meal. That's why when I see
it ain't.
Well, yeah, but what I'm saying is, it's not something that's very difficult to make. It's not something very difficult to make. You put it together, blah blah blah.
It's still food.
yeah. No, it's still food, but it's not really. You've got a lot of people that's all they know how to make. You can't eat tacos every day and expect on the other end, if that's all you're eating, that's all that's going to come out the other end too. You know what I mean? So we need a variety of food. And Demetra, you know what I'm talking about. When your mom and them were gone or at work, she said, take that chicken out, defrost the chicken. Make sure you made the rice. Make sure you had the vegetables ready. You know what I mean? All this stuff was ready, and it was always in a healthy condition of getting all of the 4 or 5 major food groups in a serving. A lot of kids aren't getting that. They might just be getting the protein. Okay, here's your chicken. Yeah, I know the side of red beans and rice at Popeyes is a little bit more expensive, the extra $3 to $4. But if you're going to get them Popeyes, you might as well get them the red beans and rice or the coleslaw or something like that. So. And then, like Robert Kennedy said in his confirmation hearing, how many of you guys heard about this? We're different than other groups of people. Our genetic makeup. So we can't eat and they can't eat and do things that we can do because of our genetic makeup. So it might affect us harder than it does other groups. We always got to keep that in mind as well. So.
Yeah. And I was on the internet, I guess in the last couple of years, there's this debate, and it's actually been a meme. And it says, oh, let's say black grandmothers never made tacos. I'm like, what black grandmamas you talking about? My grandmama and my daddy mama made a damn good taco. It was one of the best tacos I've ever eaten. She put the potato up in there and all of that. And I'm like, people just be making up stuff.
Yeah, unless you're near a border state, they probably don't have no clue of that. They probably do now with all the immigrants in here. But
my grandma's from Texarkana, and we lived in California. You know what I mean? So, you know, and my grandma was a damn good cook, but her tacos was fire. Yeah, it makes me want one just thinking about it, you know. But at the end of the day, and I'm not saying you, but a lot of times people get into, you know, cook shaming or whatever the case is, because like that you said, if I'm working too, tacos may be convenient. It might be the tacos is what's for dinner, and tacos is one of my favorite foods. I haven't had one in a long time, but tacos is food. You know, it has meat, it has vegetables, has some dairy, you know, whatever, and some carbs. So it's almost kind of like the perfect meal. Of course, you want to put some good products in there, whatever, very lean ground beef or turkey if that's your thing, but or a fish taco, whatever. But yeah, you know, people don't have the time anymore unless you stay at home. And I met my grandmother, both of my grandmothers worked, but they cooked, right? My mom's mom, her husband, she cooked every day. And sometimes it might have been a taco. Sometimes it might have been some spaghetti or something a little bit simple. But every Sunday, she, you know, did something like a pot roast with the potatoes and the, you know, the string beans and all that. She did that on, and Saturday they went out to eat, right? I'm off. Where you taking me, baby? You know, whatever the case is. And so, yeah, but like they used to say in the nation, and you know, a woman basically, you know, could kill you and heal you in the kitchen. She's a scientist in the kitchen. You know, what is she doing in there? Is she putting together food that's nutritional? And men should know how to cook too. I just want to put that out there. But is she putting together food that's nutritional, that's going to heal you? Does she know how to put things together, which you should be eating, which you should not be eating? What is your wife making? And I know some of y'all gonna get mad. But I'm old school, okay? My man never cooked. And now that I think about it, the food that I should have cooked, I should have put a little almond scent up in there. I digress. But is she bringing you food on plates that's sliding all over the plate because it's greasy? Is it all brown? Is there some color on the plate? And as I always say this too, men, some of y'all got to grow up. Some of y'all got to grow your palate up. Some of y'all can't eat chicken nuggets every day, or chicken tenders, or chicken fingers. Or if you eating chicken fingers, stick yourself. As a grown man, if you eating dino nuggets, stick yourself, okay? I digress. But if your woman is saying, hey, baby, how about a salad today? It's going to be nice. It's going to have some protein on it. It's going to be good. I ain't no salad. Yeah, oh, how about some baked chicken? I don't know, baked chicken. Yeah. And then you're going to be wanting me to, you know, sponge you off because you can't do it yourself because you know, you wanted to eat unhealthy. So it's a give and take. Women, make sure you're feeding your family something nutritional. Men, if you got a woman that loves you enough to cook for you, stop telling her what you ain't going to eat. Now, I get it. I don't like to eat everything either, but try eating a little something that's baked sometimes. And then probably most of the time, and have fried chicken as a treat. I promise you, it'll taste better if you just have it every once in a while.
Or why don't you just do this? Eat what you want and go and get a gym membership and work out. That kind of works too.
Because it's 80-20. 80% of what you eat, it determines your health, and 20% of the exercise helps you maintain it. So
correct. But at least you're doing something of that nature. But I have the ultimate answer to everything that you're saying right now. Fellas, Cooking with Kaye will solve all of your issues. So just go to that channel.
I love Kaye, but some of that stuff it will have your booty on fire. You know?
What stuff?
You know the stuff, some of that stuff should be cooking.
I don't watch for the food.
Yeah, right. Right. All you see is a blurry plate. You don't even know what's on the damn plate. But yeah, I mean, I love her for her effort. I love to see young women. Again, I'm old school. Forgive me for some of y'all who will probably get mad because I said women. That's the lineage I come from. The women cook. My grandmother's cook. My mama cooked. So that's what I know. Okay. I don't know sassafras getting greasy in the mouth with her man. I ain't cooking for you today. What you mean? What's wrong with y'all? Now, my fathers, I had a stepfather and, my dad, they could cook. They know how to cook. They're very good cooks. But again, I come from that lineage of women in the kitchen. And it wasn't considered to be disrespectful. Like the other day, I was telling my daughter about the Honeymooners. It's like one of the first television shows, if not maybe. I know it's the first one.
Your sitcom. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's sitcom. And he would always say Ralph was a character's name. What was his name? It just his real name slipped my mind.
Oh, Art Carney.
Art Carney was
Jackie Gleason. Jackie Gleason.
Jackie Gleason. Yeah. Jackie Gleason. So his punchline was when she would get smart with him or whatever, she'd say, he'd say, to the moon, Alice, to the moon. So basically he's gonna knock her out, all tongue in cheek, right? And then so she was telling him one time, she says, oh, the janitor Carlos, he treats all the women in the building very nice, like women. He's so nice to us. Why can't you be more like Carlos? And then he says, I treat you like a woman, don't I? I let you cook. I let you clean. Now, see, something like that couldn't fly nowadays because people be all, oh, that's so sexist. Oh, what do you mean? It needs to be canceled. Hashtag cancel the honeymooners. And it's like,
yeah, certain things that are said, people just get triggered, man. They just start going on.
Can you imagine if they had a sitcom now and the man is like, to the moon? And that's what he would do. To the moon, like he's gonna uppercut her, just pow, to the moon. Can you imagine they did a sitcom like that today? It aired one time. And Me Too, Me 3, and Me 14 will be out there marching. We need to get rid of this. Oh my God,
Yeah, but isn't it funny though? Sitcoms where the dad is an idiot and a loser, those get on there for years, just keep going,
Right. So, as I said, the point to even saying any of that is, like I said, I'm raised by women who were traditional. That's why I always say when I hear and other things, a sidebar, I don't mean to get in all into it. How did y'all, when I say y'all women, and maybe some of the dudes how did y'all let Derek Jackson become fashionable again? I'm just asking. Because I said his page popped up on my timeline on Facebook. Yeah.
Okay, he must be desperate for money.
No, but the women, they love him. They love him. And it was an AI video of him. It looked like it was anyway. And he's back to his same old, if he doesn't do this and then he doesn't really respect you. And I'm like, I almost dropped the N-word. Wasn't you cheating on your wife? Like cheating. Didn't you have your wife sitting up there with you holding the hands and say, oh, we're going to pray and we're Christian. I was like, let me block this fool up off my time. I don't even know how he got on there. I wasn't following. You know how sometimes they suggest stuff. But anyway, back to what I was saying. Yeah, I'm traditional. I come from a traditional women. So back to what I know what I was saying. I hear the debate, and not so much anymore because I don't follow a lot of that stuff. Or not that I follow, I'm just glad that it's not in my algorithm of men and women arguing about the roles of men and women and stuff. And whenever I see and hear a lot of men say, I want me a traditional woman. It's like, but you a modern man. How does a modern man want a traditional woman? And on the other side of that, a lot of women think that they are traditional. And it's like, what? Because you wear high heels? That's not, opposed to tennis shoes. See, tradition is what you do, but it's how you think as well. It's what the things that you say. It's how you act. It's being feminine in every sense of the word. Because as I always say, a lot of times women, especially a lot of these younger women, they think being feminine is because I, my hair is nice and I have my makeup is on nice and and I dress nice. But then when you open your mouth, you sound like a whole man. Now you might not have a deep voice like I do in the morning, but it's the things you say. I'm not, you don't tell me, and you shut up. Yeah, it's like a rotten banana. right? The outside of it, you may not know what's rotten on the inside. The outside is just fairly, appealing. You want to crack it open and eat it. But then when you open it, it's like, ew, look at all these brown spots. I'm not putting that in my mouth. It's the same thing. You look feminine, but here's a title. If somebody who's the author, you look feminine, but you act like a man. I should write that myself, huh? You look feminine, but you act like a man. I think I'm gonna get myself in trouble.
Or how about one better? Ladies, put your up.
I hate that. I hate that. And I get that. I get the analogy of a woman put your up. That was Kevin Samuels. RIP to him, who would say that to women who were very strong and masculine and, want to talk over and holler at and sometimes beat up men and what you not gonna do and all of that. I get that, but in a sense, is you acting masculine and there's a counterbalance. The man, if he's masculine, a true sense of the word, he don't want no woman. And I've heard this from my pastor. She, female pastor back in the day. She said, a man, when he gets in the bed, he don't want to feel like he's getting in the bed with another man. Now, she said, obviously, I'm not talking about in the physical sense, but you've been walking tall and talking tough all day long with this man. And he'll do this and that. And then you want him to get in the bed with you and, cozy up to you. He gonna feel a way about that because it's like, I don't see her womanly. She done barked at me all day long and told me, and attempted to, in some cases, she took my manhood by telling me what she ain't gonna do and you need to do this and why don't you do all of this? And I said, listen, I'm not a man. I don't have that function, but I couldn't imagine wanting to be with a woman that talks and walks like that all day. Talking about I get in the bed and I toot this thing up for you. If I was a man, I'd be like, I'm good, thank you. What, you cheating on me? No, your mouth is greasy. And I'm not attracted to you. See, this other thing too. And I'm not saying women are bad. I know somebody gonna get in their little feelings or whatever. But men, that's on y'all. And I say this all the time. A lot of y'all put up with them, hard-headed heifers. Them, the women that's just scary. Y'all put up with that. Y'all need to tell her. You gonna need to button your mouth. Just respect, button your mouth. Because I'm not attracted to you. And y'all need to be honest. Don't let her just be wayward and run a roughshod all through the doggone relationship in the house and like Norbert. That's a perfect example, like Recipients and Norbert. Now, what the crazy part is, Donovan? A lot of sisters got mad at Eddie Murphy because they said, he making fun of black women. And it's like, now, listen, Norbert is one of my favorite movies, but God damn it.
There's some truth to it. There's some truth to it.
Man, he got that down pat. He done seen a couple of women. I mean, it was to a science. And it's like, are you more mad that Eddie Murphy had some inspiration to draw from? Or should you be more mad that there's actually women out there that's acting like that? But back to what I was saying, some of y'all men just need to be honest, baby. I'm not attracted to you doing all that woofing and barking and telling me what to do. I'm not attracted to that. You turn me off. It's like, you know what I mean? I'm not attracted to that. Well, you should be for better or worse. And right now, your mouth is worse. And so is it ain't better. Because your mouth, your attitude is bad. I can't say nothing to you because what you talking to me for? So I'm just saying, some of y'all men need to be honest. And like, I love you. But I know there's a woman out there somewhere that ain't going to be doing all of that. I'm just going to let you know right now.
Right. But let's for a dude to run into a woman that's acting like that. It ain't like he didn't know. It ain't like he doesn't know. It ain't like she's like, oh, hi, honey, I'm doing this and all that. And all of a sudden she just turns into Rasputia. I think a lot of these dudes, they see these women, especially if they are like Rasputia, like right now it's tax season. Where do you think a lot of these guys are right now? they're going to put up if they need a place to stay. They're going to put up what they need to put up.
There, I do love you. I love you. I love you. And then as soon as she's talking about, baby, I ain't got no money to go to Red Lobster no more. He gonna be like, you mean you out of money? Okay. Then I'll see you next year.
You know, and I hate to say that, but it's true. Tax season, they're cozied up with the Recipients and stuff like that because, and I'm a man myself, but I'm just saying, let's just call it for what it is. There are a lot of dudes out here who made bad decisions when they were younger and got incarcerated. They're coming out. They're still trying to live a life, that struggle life, whatever. And these men are willing to move in with women, which should never happen as a man. Because if you look at nature, the male sets up the nest for the woman to come in to lay the egg. You know what I mean? And, you know, when you see these guys doing that, it's incredible to me because I always tell them, I said, don't you think Mad Day is going to come one day? Your name ain't on any leasing, any mortgage. Your name ain't on anything. You're not married. So what do you think's going to happen here? Who do you think has the, you know, and these guys, they don't think about that, you know, it's just sad, you know, they're just desperate to have a place to live. And that's a very sad state. If you're a man that is in a situation like that, like Demetra's dad says, you ain't fit to walk among men.
That and no woman. She, even if it's her idea, baby, move in with me. We can live together. You ain't got to move in. Eventually, she's going to remember why, or remember that she doesn't respect you because you moved in with me. Now, listen, if you married and her house is better than yours, okay, great. We're going to consolidate, rent my house. But I'm getting on this deed and this lease, right? Like I'm gonna have some stake in here, you know, all that other stuff. But you moving with a woman, she's gonna wake up one day and say, I don't respect this man. You know, as I've always heard this analogy, Adam got Eve when the garden was built, all fully cultivated and everything. He didn't get Eve when and said, I need you, gal, come on in here and get to raking up some of this soil. I need you to help me. You need to go half on the grapes. He didn't get Eve. He said, baby, I love you. All this could be yours if you say I do. You ain't got to lift a finger. It's all, you just bring your pretty self in here and you sit down, girl. You sit down and you just maintain it. Put your beautiful feminine touch on it. And then she got to talking to the joker in the garden and the rest is history, right? But Adam's intentions were pure. That's because that's the way it works. So back to what I said, as far as a lot of these men, I want me a traditional woman. Sucker, you're working at Walmart. No shade to Walmart. I used to work at Walmart back in the day. I'm never gonna knock it, okay? You're working at Walmart and you want her to pay half, but you want her to be traditional. She got to pay half. That means she busting a hustle somewhere. So you want her to come home. And I always say this is kind of vulgar, and I think because we're on the podcast, I could probably get away with it. Or I'm gonna clean it up. A lot of you men, not y'all, but them, y'all want to pay half the bills, but you want all the coochie. Okay, and listen, I'm not saying you shouldn't be able to have that, but don't be imposing no demands on me because you are lacking. I need you to come in here, pay half the mortgage, the light bill, and I still need you to be doing all your womanly duties. Whenever I ask, I don't want you to tell me no. I want you to have all the food on the table, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I want you to have the house clean because I'm a man, and I need to sit up here and scratch where I should not be itching, and hopefully you ain't itching because you out there cheating. I digress. You know what I mean? But you got to really examine those things. And I feel sorry for a lot of you men because y'all don't really have no real men that could really give y'all the guidance that you need and give you the advice. Y'all listening to these suckers on the internet who ain't got no wife, don't want no wife, and they probably want a man. I don't know those people, but I'm just putting it out there. But they telling you what you should be looking for in a woman, and they don't even have one themselves.
What's crazy to me, Demetra, all those things that you said that these men demand and they want, you should only demand and want that in a marriage. If you're not married to this woman, you have no right or incentive to expect any of that. at all. I mean, logically, that doesn't make sense. If you want all those things, then marry her. And ladies, come on now. If you're going to be doing, if you're going to give him those privileges and you're not married to the man, what do you expect is going to happen? What do you expect is going to happen? They're going to be kids out of wedlock, all this other stuff. There was an expose I was watching on these dating shows on the internet. And it's amazing to me how you see these, and unfortunately, it's the ladies. They get up there, and I'll give a good example like Kendra G. She'll say, how many baby daddies? Oh, 3, oh, 4, oh, 7, and they're looking for love. And it makes you wonder, like, you didn't get it after the first one? And you just keep doing the same definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over. Ladies, putting your life at risk for men that you're not married to. I will never understand that. I will never understand that, because ladies, when you get pregnant, every time you get pregnant, you put your life on the line. And if you're putting your life on the line for a casual encounter, that makes no sense to me. It just makes no sense to me. But it is what it is. But what I'm saying is, you look at these dating shows and you see these, and these ladies are probably really good women. Let's just say that. Their intentions are good, whatever the deal is. But you're on a dating show. What type of guy do you think is... It's just the unrealisticness of the thing is, I want a guy making 6 figures, but you got 5 baby daddies. What guy that makes 7 figures or whatever the figures are, that's 6 feet tall, all these things that you want, this Prince Charming that you want, is going to swoop in with you now that you have 3 children by 2 different men and you were never married. That's what kills me. It's one thing if you were married. When Kendra goes, were you ever married? No. All bets are off at that point. So ladies, we have to do better selecting these dudes. And yes, ladies, your role in the relationship is to demand that man what you want in a husband. And if he doesn't meet that criteria, keep it pushing.
Yeah, and I have lived with someone I wasn't married to. I was married once for 10 months. And I was engaged, but I was engaged a couple times now that I think about it. But anyway.
But you're not having babies.
No, sir. But the other thing too is, as Farrakhan said, get a commitment. Get a commitment. Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Get a commitment. Get a commitment from these men. Because believe it or not, there's a lot of men in our big old 50s and 60s that still just trying to hop up and down and treat you like a trampoline. And he out in the streets. And I always say there's nothing more sad than a man or a woman in their 50s and 60s, you still in the streets. What is you looking for that you haven't already bumped into in the alleys of life when you was younger? So yeah, get a commitment. That's why I said, and I joke a lot, but yeah, I'm single. It's by choice, because now I'm doing a lot of things and I just kind of need to be that right now. But I'm just not going to inconvenience myself anymore, right? Because my thing is, what are we hanging out for? Well, I don't mind hanging out, like we go to a movie or something like that. But as far as you thinking you finna be trampolining me and you gonna get first of all, you got to be my man. And at this age, we need to be getting married. You're not finna be trampolining old Glow the Dean. No, you not. As my daddy say, you the main thing, not the play thing. And again, there's a lot of women my age that's got them up like goalposts. It's all up in the air for old Rufus and them. Talking about, girl, I don't know why he don't act right, because you ain't giving him a reason to. At our big old age, no man should even be approaching you thinking I'm gonna get that tonight. All I got to do is take her and get her supersized. And she go. I know she ain't had nobody. No, he shouldn't even be able to think that way about you. And if he does come to you that way, say, I'm sorry, sir. The lady around the corner should probably do it to you for free. No, I ain't gonna do it to you for nothing unless it's my ring finger, okay? We having this conversation. Oh, well, I did. Then what make you think you finna hop in my bed I'm not worthy enough for you to marry, but you think I'm gonna give you? Is you what? Rufus, what is you smoking? What? And I know Rufus probably think that way. Again, Rufus is all a triple OG. Okay. Now I know Rufus thinks that way because there's a lot of glow-to-deans out there who allow him to think that. She all up at the VFW in the cat suit, and he taking, she getting taken home by all these, sailors who ain't they stuff ain't really sailing like that. But she getting taken home every weekend. And she right back up. And I'm talking about an old woman. Listen, I'm not old, but I'm older, right? I'm talking about women my age and older. They at the VFW every weekend, getting the high wings and the, the Crown Royal, and baby, where we going tonight? Or you can come over, we hang out, watch it. And both of y'all too old to even stay up for a movie that late. So all he want to do is Rufus at this point ain't even got 2 minutes. He probably got a strong minute 15, and then you're laying up there. And he like, you know what? I got to go to church in the morning. I'm the deacon. I got to open up the church in the morning. So I walk you out to your car. Glow-to-Dean, you should not still be getting walked out to the car in the middle of the night at the Rufus and hopped up and down on you like a trampoline for a minute and 15 seconds. I'm just saying. Anyway. We gonna get out of here before I get
a little wisdom before we go. There you go.
Before I get in trouble. Anyway, we love and appreciate y'all. Be back here in just a little bit. I think I could find some things to talk about that could be pretty interesting. We'll see. Anyway, we'll talk to y'all in a little bit. Peace.